Hi there. Welcome in to our next conversation in our marketing webinar series. I'm Danny Rubin, founder of Rubin, and today we are talking about content marketing, which is a term that has grown in popularity over the last several years. But what does it really mean? What does it mean to be a content marketer? What type of skills are required? What does the work look like? We have two professionals with us today, taking time from their busy days. We have Leah Spradlin from Heartland Dental, Kaycee McCoy from Create Captivate Digital Marketing. Appreciate both of you being here to share your expertise and your knowledge in the world of coming up with creative concepts and then executing them as content campaigns. So thank you both for being here. I'll start with Kaycee. Kaycee, if you don't mind, share your background with us, with the students, and the work that goes on at Create Captivate.
Sure. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Absolutely.
So I'm the founder and CEO of Create Captivate. I founded it in 2017. And we are a full service award-winning digital marketing and branding studio in Norfolk. And
Norfolk, Virginia, because these are
yes,
students around the country. Go ahead.
okay, Norfolk, Virginia. Yes, it's helpful to know. We are a full service company. So we do a lot of different things, but content marketing is probably our core service.
Hmm.
Um, and everything we do kind of revolves around that. So I started freelancing years ago in 2010, did that for a long time. And then I decided I wanted an office and a team and to grow. The vision grew over years. And now we're a team of 7 and growing pretty rapidly at this point.
Wow. Wow. And how would you define content marketing? What is that in your eyes?
Content marketing, in my opinion, is using content on websites, whether it's blog posts, e-newsletters, social media. There are various places around the internet you can share content to engage an audience. So it's curating and developing stories and ways to humanize an organization and connect with their target audience.
Hmm, very nice. Thank you for that. And Leah Spradlin, again, thank you for being here. Tell us your background and the role you play at Heartland Dental, and also what is Heartland Dental?
So I'm Leah. I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is right next to Norfolk, right not here on the East Coast. My background is in orthodontics and so I started in orthodontics about 20 years ago, right out of high school. And about 7 years ago, I started writing. And just this year, ended up joining Heartland Dental. My position there is as a communication specialist with our operations department. So Heartland owns about 1,700 dental offices across the country, and I am part of the team that supports all of those. But my job is like the perfect fusion of my dental experience and my writing experience. So I'm able to support all of our teams with all kinds of different corporate communications. But my passion is really helping messaging go out that's articulated well to the field, and just being able to build a lot of trust with clarity and communication.
Hmm, that's great. So you're coming at this field from your internal communications, and Casey's helping clients from the outside. So we have both
Right.
sides covered
I
here, which
I
is
work
great.
for a very, very large company, so I'm on the
Yeah, and
different
that too.
other end of the spectrum. And
Yeah.
I've also freelanced as well for the last 7 years. So I have I'm learning the big business side of it, coming from like the small business side.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that too, the difference with working with a small organization versus a large one doing communications and content work. So, Casey, give us an example of a potential client who comes your way and says, "We need help. We need you to help us create content. We need help with our website. We need to add blogs, or we need to do a newsletter." Like, what does it look like at the start of a content marketing engagement?
From the beginning, we like to have a little discovery chat. And depending on, where the content is going to go, we'll pull in different team members who have different specialties. So we sit down, we have a meeting, we ask them all the nitty-gritty questions to really dig into who are you talking to, what's the goal, what are the biggest pain points for you, how can we create something together that's really going to resonate with your audience.
And are you usually the one, like your team writing things, or does the customer ever write things and you look at it together, or is it generally like we're going to produce whatever you need us to produce?
That depends. So we have a little bit of everything. And we do kind of a la carte services, which I think is kind of something a little unique with us. And so it just really depends on how involved they want to be. We can do everything full service, or we can walk alongside them, or we can train them or train someone on their team to even DIY it.
I see. Okay. And Leah, from your side, where does your work come from? Like, how do you know what you're about to do? Kind of tasks are you working on, and where do they stem from within the organization?
So I have partnered with like 8 project managers. So whatever they need for communication to go out to all of our offices, they'll have me lean in on. So things like email campaigns to remind education type of enrollees that their quarterly goals are coming up. I'm working on some flyers to help the field understand certain aspects of our team and what we do. So when they hear from us via email or the different communication hubs, they know who we are. And then different like communication hubs with putting updates and office information in a place where field operators can find it. So there's vast iterations of those type of tasks, but typically it's getting passed to me from a project manager.
And so some of your work, and this is what we're doing here, is exposing students to different aspects of different jobs that they don't even know exist, right? So part of your job is content for internal purposes, just educating the offices that you manage on how to communicate back with you. So it's not necessarily something that is for the general public. And sometimes it's just internal marketing campaigns,
Right.
for team building and team communication. And many times it's external, or in Kaycee's case, it's usually to help their customer tell a story to their own potential customers. So there's like different sort of
there's a whole department.
Directions.
Right. There's a whole department in my company that handles social media, press releases, blogs for the public. We have a magazine, and I don't touch any of that.
So you're just on internal communication, and there's a whole team doing external. So that's important to understand, that when we think of marketing, content marketing, we think, oh, I'm just going to help a customer write a blog post for their website. But you're showing there's a whole different side to this business, which is what the public may never even see.
Right. My customers and my audience are employees and team members.
Yeah, that's great. That is great to make that distinction. So you both brought along some examples. We'll start with Kaycee. So go ahead, if you can, share your screen, and let's look at some of the projects that your team has worked on recently, and we'll talk about each one. So you have different mediums. You can start wherever you want to start and tell us what was going on here and what was this like. Let's start with the Elizabeth River Trail, like a nature trail. What did your company do here?
So we won a contract last spring to redesign their entire website. And so they do have a pretty vast blog section on there that we were able to help with along the way. So we just helped them come up with some kind of starter blog ideas of what might be interesting to their audience. And
so like Donor Spotlight CHKD, which is the local children's hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Did you write that post for them? Did they do it? How did this, spotlighting one of their donors, like how did this project come together?
So this one in particular, with all of their blog posts, we just had that starter conversation of how, who are the different people or personas in your audience that would be reading a blog post from you. So some of it is donor based, some of it is actually about out on the trail. So we just helped them kind of formulate the ideas and then read through, proofread, did our SEO on the back end, and went on from there.
And we've talked in a separate conversation about SEO, or search engine optimization, which is making sure certain keywords are contained in the blog that people might be searching for, for certain queries or certain help. So that brings that conversation together with this one. Okay, so let's go to the Facebook tab.
Okay. I also have Envision Gant Optometry, which is a local optometrist office here in Norfolk. And we do full social media for them. So we go and we actually, once a month, our photographer, our social media architect goes and she captures content. So she goes and she takes videos and photos of their people, of their products, of whatever they might have, upcoming promotions and offers that they have that they want to feature. And then we take that, and from there, we map out a content calendar a month in advance and come up with all of the ideas based off the content that we snagged. And then our copywriter takes it and does the copy, and then we schedule and publish for them.
Interesting. So you have a lot of different hands touching it, and it ends up down to the content person,
right,
who writes the copy and helps put the posts out there. That's great. Okay.
And then my third example is an e-newsletter. This one is a property management company in a vacation resort area, and they contract us out to write these monthly newsletters where we feature different properties that they have, if they have a new property that's under their wing, or we also feature different things in the local area, things that are fun and interesting for their renters, their potential renters to enjoy while they're renting properties.
And so does your team have to go into that community almost like a reporter and kind of find stories to tell? Like, how do you find information to put in this newsletter?
So we have a little chat with them once a month and talk to them about what they know of. We do a little bit of research on the web for them and come up with different ideas of events, activities. We just have to get into that mindset of, okay, if we were tourists and we were coming to visit Virginia Beach, what would we be looking for?
Okay, that's great. Leah, as you look at this, how important is it to be a good writer if you want to work in content marketing? Just knowing how to write complete sentences, grammar, spelling, capitalization, a sense of voice.
So I always say that nobody notices if you write well, but they notice if you don't.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, I
And
like that.
and when you notice typos or duplicate words or just those little details, it breaks trust with the reader, because it breaks that invisible moment of kind of being absorbed into the content, whether it's fiction, whether it's a novel or a magazine, or whether it's something business related. So those details, having someone have their eyes and attention on those details before they go out is really and truly can impact your business. Because if someone's looking at your blog and they see typos and improper English in your Facebook posts or your blogs or whatever, your advertising, they're going to wonder if you really know how to do your job, because, really the subconscious thought is you can't even post on Facebook properly.
Right. I think that's great advice, because we talk a lot in our company with students about the importance of being a good writer, and how people will judge your intelligence fairly or unfairly and your reputation on your words. So in this particular field of work, content marketing is all writing. And so if you want to go into it, you have to be a good writer. So, okay, Leah, show us some of your samples and take us inside your world a bit. and let's see what's going on there.
So this is just like a flyer that I created for my corporate job. Goes over an aspect of a working group that deals with the field very, very regularly. So we wanted them to know exactly what the purpose of their working group is for. And then let me see if
We're seeing a lot of different forms of content marketing: flyers, blogs, newsletters. It takes many forms. Sometimes it's printed material, sometimes it is digital.
Yep. So this is like an email campaign that I put together through a company called HubSpot.
Mm-hmm.
This goes out to a lot of the doctors that we partner with. So those are two examples from my corporate background. And then like this is a wedding blog that I ghost wrote a lot of these blogs on.
What do you have to do? Go back to that for a second, the wedding one. So when what's an example of a blog that you're writing, and what kind of research or work do you have to do to write a blog?
So typically the whoever's hiring out the work will give you a topic that they want to blog on, and they'll give you some conventions as far as how many words they need. I have written SEO optimized blogs before, but that's not typical. It's kind of like there's a lot of writing work out there that you kind of send it off to their team and they optimize it for search engines. So they'll tell you how many words they need, what the topic would be, and any details that need to be included. And it's up to me as the writer to come up with everything else. So doing a little bit of research, usually researching their website specifically to kind of get the tone and other topics that might be related, and just kind of filling in the blanks and making it sound really warm and informative.
So in this case, this is a focus on a designer named Galia Lahav. So you researched her business and wrote about what the kind of gowns that she does.
So I don't think that's one of the ones that I wrote, because I was a ghostwriter in this particular capacity.
I see.
But several of these on here are mine. I just
okay.
Where they're at.
And that's another, as a freelancer, that's another way to provide content marketing or content services, is to provide written pieces for other companies as a freelancer. So that's a kind of a third way, to full-time, externally to a client or internally to employees, or freelancing as well. And tell us about this pest services one as well.
This is another local company that needed a blog, and this is a pretty long one, but like each of these headers in here, mosquito control by priority pest services, there's different keys in there. And, I'm not the expert on here on that. I just kind of come up with the words and make them look pretty. But this is another just example. And then my final example is more of a personal project. This is the novel that I wrote 7 years ago. And actually, oh my gosh, over 7 years ago. Apparently, it was published September 8th, 2015. I forgot about that. But this is just an example of, how writing can take a lot of different forms and become a business, even if it's not for another company, because as an author, you're also an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing these examples. This is also very helpful to see. So Kaycee, if a student is watching this and says, I want to work in content marketing, first of all, is it about practicing your writing from an early age? Does that contribute here?
Definitely. I think the writing is such a huge part of it. And learning, especially if you want to go into an agency or somewhere where you're working with all kinds of different clients and businesses, learning really, I think the best skill to have is learning how to capture someone's voice and tone appropriately.
I was about to ask. Okay.
That's such...
What does that mean exactly, to capture someone's voice and tone? What does that mean to you?
So just being able to express their voice, who they are, what they're all about, like writing it in the right way so that it comes off as, well, this is from this business, this is who they are. it's so strong and recognizable and memorable that no matter where in the world, whether it's print or digital or on what format, it all is cohesive and comes together and doesn't sound like 7 different people are writing the content.
Yeah.
And I will say too, to your point, Kaycee, my background as a fiction writer helps me in my corporate tasks because I do write for like our CEO and, members of our senior leadership team. And I have to kind of sound like what they would sound like. And so I think of it like a character, embodying a character in a novel when you're writing dialogue. So the two can definitely blend together.
I love that. It's like you're taking a character and you're having to think like, how would they do it? If that's a great advice for content marketing. And what could students do right now? Should they start a blog, a portfolio? Could they even write right now for a company? Kaycee, what do you think? Like, if a student's in high school, like I want to get into this, what would be the move?
Oh my gosh, there's so many moves to make. I mean, really just choosing something and digging into it. And nail it. So I'm a big proponent of finding one thing that you want to do, digging into it, nailing it, and then you can add other skill sets along the way, and you'll learn a lot of other important aspects of content along the way as well. But I would say just, yeah, no matter if it's you start a blog or you create a portfolio or you look for a job opportunity, whatever it is, just dig in and do it until you get really comfortable in it, and then start adding in the
I
other
like
stuff.
that. What would you add to that, Leah? How should like a high school student gain experience?
I think a lot of high schools have a school paper, or maybe
Hmm.
they used to, I don't know, but I've
Some
heard
do, some
I
do.
don't have high schoolers. So, that's a great place to just, they're not going to turn you down if you want to get involved with that. And just finding there's websites that are easy to create nowadays that you can put whatever content you want. And my biggest advice for honing your skills as a young person is to become a comma expert because commas will trip up even the most experienced writers. So
Meaning like where you use them and where you don't.
placement of commas and usage of commas,
And
it's
how do you get better at that? Do you read other people's work? Do you read
pay
the
attention, pay
newspaper?
attention in English class. And
What about
and
like reading the newspaper, like AP style, or seeing what journalists do or authors do? How can you learn commas?
well, honestly, Google Docs and Word will tell you if you do it incorrectly. So
Mm,
if you see those blue or red lines come up and, point that out, Google why and just figure out what you're doing wrong so that you can
love that.
not, repeat those little mistakes.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that
go ahead.
Grammarly extension in Chrome is also a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the like super granular advice like that. Like that's the stuff people remember, right? It's like these little tips, little life hacks like that. I think learning commas is a great idea. Also, me personally, learning capitalization because these days people think everything should be capitalized. Any word that feels important is capitalized, and we know that's not true. A word like successful is not capitalized, even though it's an important word to you. It's not capitalized, but that's become a misconception in the world. So I love that advice of just like you said, Kaycee, drilling deep, being intentional, and then like Leah said, understand all the little things that come with it. So we'll think we'll end right there on that piece of advice. I want to thank you both for great great insights into content marketing, what it really is as a job, what it looks like from different angles. So thank you both, and best of luck in your respective careers. And I hope our students appreciated a deep dive into content marketing. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.